name is Sharmila, and I'm coming to you from Toronto, Ontario. On Instagram, you can find me as JulyChicknits, and on Ravelry as JulyChic. Today is March 11th, 2021, and this is episode number 8. It's been almost a year since I've been hosting this knitting channel, and I'm so happy you've joined me. Let's start with works in progress. I have been working on this project, which is the Second Avenue wrap by Amy Miller. This is the second time I've knit this project. The first time I made it as a skinny scarf, and this time I'm following the pattern and making it as a wrap. So as you can see, I'm done the rugby stripes, and I'm on the first eyelet section. This is a long-term project. I'm not in a rush to finish it, and it'll take me a long time. And I pick it up here and there when I feel like it. It's pretty loud. The colors are pretty loud, especially this neon green. But we'll see. Hopefully the colors will all come together, because the gray does have some green flecks and some purple flecks. So we'll see how it turns out. Hopefully good. The second project I'm working on is this, which is the Chevron baby blanket. It's a free pattern by Espace Tricot. This is the second time I've knit this pattern. The first time I knit it the same way. It's knit with this yarn, which is Caron Simply Soft. And the colors are white, sunshine, and gray heathers. This is an acrylic yarn, which is super baby friendly and very washable. I usually make about 13 rows. So I'm about one third the way done. This one is for my daughter's school social worker. She's expecting her first baby. I knit one early last year in February for her classroom teacher. And recently she saw her in the hallway and she recognized my daughter with the mask and everything. And she said that it's a real favorite of her son's and they use it all the time. So I was so happy to hear that, because of course when you gift something, a knitted handmade object, you want to make sure that it's used, right? So I should be done this. Well, I should keep working on it because she's going on mat leave in April, so I better get that done. Finished objects. I have many finished objects. I knit a ton in December. All were gifts. I knit the Asymmetrical Shawl. It's a pattern by Nina Klecki of Creative Yarns. She gives the pattern free with purchase of yarn, and you can knit this with any skein of fingering weight, or you could use 2 skeins to make a larger shawl. I've made this pattern many times. This one I made it in cottage squishy, log house cottage squishy sock yarn, which has a bit of nylon to it. And it was for my daughter's friend. I'll insert a picture of how it looks. It's a really versatile, you could make it bigger if you want, and it's a pretty easy mindless knit. The other knitting I did in December for gifts were for my brother. He had been bugging me for a long time to make him a sweater, and I kept putting it off. Of course I wasn't going to knit him a sweater because he doesn't live near me, and it's a lot of work and it's a lot of yarn to knit a full-size adult male sweater. So he finally took the hint that I wasn't going to knit him the sweater, and he asked for a hat instead. So I decided to knit his whole family wool hats, and I knit him the Taconite hat in Malabrigo Rios. I knit this hat. This was the 4th time I knit that hat, and it's a real fan favorite of mine. I love knitting this hat. The designer is Virginia Sattler-Reimer, and it's a really lovely pattern to knit up. I'll insert a picture of what it looks like. I knit him in in a blue color. I can't remember the actual name of the color, but it's like a dark navy-ish denim wash kind of blue. I also knit my nephew's hats. The older nephew wanted, I asked him what color hat he wanted, and he wanted a hornet yellow hat. And during lockdown, when everything is curbside pickup or online, it's really hard to find. It was really hard to find that exact shade of yellow that he wanted. We went back and forth over FaceTime a few times to narrow down the yellow. And I showed him a few, but they were either school bus yellow or cadmium yellow. I was really having a hard time nailing down that yellow. I'm sure in acrylic it would have been easier to find, but I really wanted to make them good quality wool hats. So I finally found at the Knit Cafe, I found this yarn. It's Kelborn Woolens in the, Kelborn, let me just take out the tag here. Yeah, Kelborn Woolens, perennial, and this was the color. It's pineapple, which is also hornet yellow. And I knit him the hat. Let's see if I can find the name of it. It's called the Skyping Beanie, and it's by Haldora J. It's a free pattern on Ravelry. And it's a really versatile pattern. You could wear it brimmed or slouchy, whichever way you want. And I held the yarn double. This is like a heavier fingering weight yarn. So I held it double to get the DK weight. Haldora J also makes has another free pattern on Ravelry. It's called Violet Waffles, and I've made that a few times. And that's a sport weight, I believe. And that's a really, really fun pattern to knit. I wear that hat often. So I knit him that, and my other nephew, my younger nephew, he wanted the color purple. So I knit him this hat. I'll insert a picture. It's by a Canadian designer, also a generous free pattern, by Erin Trolley, and it's called the Tree Planter Toque. And it's a real fun shape. So I knit this in Malabrigo Rios. It called for worsted weight yarn. And it's in the color Purple Mystery. He wanted a purple hat. So I leaned more towards like a purpley blue kind of color. And this color was perfect, I thought. The last hat I knit, I also knit myself a version of this. It's the Blair hat. And this is mine. It's in Amerigo original yarn, Pluma. It's a discontinued yarn. I put an inexpensive pom-pom on mine, and I'll try it on for you. This is what it looks like. It just covers my ears. It didn't used to, but I think it stretched a bit over time. And it's just a really nice warm hat. I wear this often. And this is the Blair hat. It's a pattern by Americo Original. The shop is closed now. They used to sell yarn, and they had their own knitting patterns as well. But they're based here in Toronto, but they've retired and they're closed. I was fortunate enough to have a decent stash of their yarn. So that's what I sent for my sister-in-law. And I think they really all love their hats. My brother said his really keeps him warm. He shaves his head, so he needs, and he walks his dogs a lot. So he really wanted something nice and warm for the winter. I didn't knit a lot in January because I knit so much in December. And November, December was kind of frantic knitting for gift giving. So I kind of took January off from knitting, and I started knitting again in February and March. And my daughter generously gave me for Christmas 2 lovely skeins of Malabrigo Rios from Passionate, which really is, my favorite yarn for accessories, for cowls and neck warmers and hats and stuff. It's just such a plush yarn, and it washes well because it's superwash, I think. And she bought me 2 skeins of Rios in the colorway. Here, I have it here. This one is Archangel, and this one is Tranquillo. And the skeins are kind of a mess. This is what I have left over. And I really, I wasn't sure what I wanted to make. I wanted to use them together in a pattern. And right around that time, a designer by the name Mandy Coffin of RosiePosie Design Co. She released this lovely pattern, the Solidarity Cowl. And this is what the cowl looks like. It's just a really beautiful pattern, honeycomb type of pattern. And it's super plush because you carry both yarns throughout. But it's not too bulky. So it sits really nicely on the neck. The only modification I made to this was I knit 1 less repeat in the main body of the pattern. I kept the ribbing the same on both ends, but just the actual main pattern, I knit 1 less repeat. So that would have been about maybe 1.5 inches or so. I shaved off of that. And this was like a really fun pattern. It was a couple of new stitches that I learned, but her instructions were super clear. She gave tutorials for the different stitches, the new stitches that I learned. So that was great. I really enjoyed knitting that. Now I don't know what I'm going to do with this leftover yarn. I'd love to make a Taconite hat for myself, but this is not enough yarn to knit that hat. And I don't know if I want to use them together again, because then it'll be too matchy-matchy with my cowl, I think. My most recent finished object is finally, drumroll please, my Weekender sweater by Andrea Mowry. I don't know if you could see the whole thing, but here it is in all of its glory. I did not make any major modifications. I did the split hem like she called for. The back is a little longer than the front. Everything is exactly how the pattern calls for. I think I knit the body a little longer and the sleeves a little shorter than what she calls for. But I kept trying it on as I was knitting it, because it is a drop shoulder, so you have to kind of take that into account for when you do the sleeves. I kept trying it on as I was knitting it, and I knit it to the length and the length of sleeve that was good for me. So I'm really happy I finished that. I guess I had a hiccup when I was doing the short rows, and I felt like there were holes. My short rows I didn't do it properly. So I changed the method maybe a bit. Now I'm really happy with the short rows. You can't really tell where the short rows are, which is how I think it should be anyways. So yeah, I'm really happy with the sweater. It's knit with Cascade 220 in the color River Rock, which is this yarn right here. And as you can see, I bought way too much. I knit the 3rd size in the pattern. I bought 6 skeins of Cascade 220. It's a non-superwash, 100% Highland Peruvian wool. It's quite affordable. A sweater's quantity is quite affordable. But I bought 1 skein too much because I have this much left over. So I don't know what I'm going to do with this. I'll figure it out. I guess I'm working a collection of worsted weight yarns, so maybe, I don't know, we'll see. The one thing I did notice with this sweater was, and this wool, was initially it was picking a bit at the neck. It was just the slightest bit itchy when I would wear it. But I've worn it a few times since I've made it, and it's gotten better with time. So definitely it's much, the wool is softening a bit. It's a bit more comfortable to wear, like not as picky, but it's really lovely. It's warm, it's nice. I'm super happy with it. This brings us to what I'm wearing. I'm wearing a wrap called the Bianca wrap. It's by a designer called Sarah Smelland, under the Blue Sky label, Blue Sky Fibres label. So I think she's a designer for them, and the pattern is under their label. I saw this as a store sample at Units in Toronto, and I bought the pattern off of Ravelry. I think actually they offered it for free a year ago. Yeah, I think a year ago in March they offered it for free, and I grabbed it then. And it's a really great pattern. I knitted in alpaca. The white is alpaca, and the other color, which is like a clay or a brick kind of color, is another Americo original yarn. It's a superwash DK weight yarn, and the white is a really beautiful alpaca that I bought in Quebec City when I traveled there, and I couldn't find it on Ravelry. They do have a website. It's Alpagas Charlevoix, and it's a boutique that what they have at their farm goes directly to their boutique, and it's undyed. This is the natural alpaca color. It's really lovely and soft, and that's why I paired it with the superwash merino to give it a bit of structure, I guess, to the garment, because the alpaca on its own, or if I had paired it with another alpaca, it would have been more drapey, and I just wanted it to drape a certain way, I guess. I'll insert some pictures of what it looks like on. It's super easy to throw over a top and jeans, and it's great for the spring or the fall. Well, that's it for today, folks. Thank you for watching, and happy knitting. Bye.